But Sarah, you're over in Washington right now, and what is the feeling in Washington between everyone there in light of what's happened to Charlie Kirk?
There's still, guys, like a lot of sadness and shock here in the Capitol. You know, the president, clearly you've heard in his statements that this is a very personal issue for him. He knew Charlie Kirk, who was a very prominent MAGA figure, a MAGA protege, really, you know, very, very involved in the youth movement, the conservative youth movement. And so within President Trump's inner circle, within the White House circles, you know, you've heard from the likes of Donald Trump's son, you've heard from the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, and they're not just sharing condolences and condemnations of the attack, they're sharing their personal memories and experiences that they had with Charlie. Him and his family were known to the people in this administration. He was a friend to many of them. So the shock runs really deep. I think it's so important what Shane was pointing out there about this being, you know, such a difficult moment for the country, and we're hearing those words, the president calling it a dark moment for America. But really there is a sense that this needs to be something that crosses the political divide, and there needs to be some way for the country to come together, because there is a really deep sense of unease here at the moment in the Capitol, and that echoed across the country actually right now in the aftermath of this killing of Charlie Kirk. This sense that there has been an uptick in political violence of this kind, and that that First Amendment right, freedom of speech that Americans hold so dear, that is now seriously under threat with the rise in these types of attacks. You had last year the president's assassination attempt against him. You've had a number of other incidents too. And I think, Shane, you know, we should touch on what you'd said earlier when we were discussing this briefly, you know, that for America, certainly, but other countries, including the UK, this is a real change in sort of threat assessment. You know, today it's the 9/11 memorial. You've got anniversary and memorial taking place across the country, of course, in New York and here in Washington at the Pentagon as well, where the president attended. But, you know, all this time later, 24 years later, and the threat situation has changed, and I think it is a moment for America to be looking internally and really questioning what they do now. And that is a question, guys, that I'm already hearing being asked in many of the circles here in Washington.